Hey, Mike, it looked like your first time working out there. 13 minutes.
He was a little
Good Lord.
He was a little
I could do
ghost.
20 rounds in 13 minutes. Jesus. Almost took a nap.
Yeah, this is all recorded. 20.1 is here!
Wow.
Nerds.
CrossFit Open 20.1.
Welcome to Throwdown. Usually it's us writing the workout and then delivering it to all of you, but since it is 20.1, we're giving you 20.1.
No longer the Throwdown.
Kyle, what's the workout?
This is now the Open. All right, so our first workout brought to you by CrossFit HQ, no longer brought to you by a coach in-house, is 10 rounds for time, 8 ground to overhead, 95-65, and 10 bar-facing burpees. This thing, we just got done watching it, was absolutely disgusting.
It's gonna be nasty. Look, if you're new to this series, this is where we typically write a workout and then invite all of you to do it. But over the next 5 weeks, we're gonna do the open workouts. We're still gonna talk over them, and then we're gonna give our points of performance at the end. First, we have our in-house coaches, Mike McGills and 𝐒𝐩𝐞𝐢𝐼, that are gonna do the workout, and Max and Mike are gonna talk over that. Enjoy.
Let's go watch.
And 2020.
I think we should call this 2019
Yeah.
1.2.
Yeah, starts now. Oh man, look at the speed right out of the gate.
Mia's going faster than you.
I know. So initially, right off the bat, I was like, all right, she's gonna push me on these, and I don't know. I kind of expected her to be really conservative at the start because she's not like a very fast athlete.
Yeah, so your strategy, I saw you had a minute 10 rounds written on the wall, and people will see you taking some library breaks, going do a little bit of reading.
What is a library break?
It's when you stop your workout and go and do a little bit of reading, casual reading in the middle of the workout.
We'll have to take a guess on what round it was that I actually laid down on the ground for a minute. I'm in my head, I'm thinking it's easier to rest laying down than it is standing, so why don't people do this more?
I agree. I take naps in the middle of my workouts all the time.
Yeah. All right, so first thoughts on this workout, I wasn't like, oh damn, I hate this workout, but I also wasn't like, hell yeah. I historically hate movements, of this pair of movements, like pulling from the ground and burpees is just something that lights me up. We were saying earlier, like, I really think it was gonna be 17.1, like power snatches and a ton of burpee box jump overs. For some reason, that combo of like hinging just lights me up. Mostly because, from like coaching me in the past and watching me move for years now, like, my hinging mechanics just aren't as good as my squatting mechanics in workouts. So to me, like doing power snatches from the ground and then doing step up and down burpees is like the same movement over and over.
Yeah,
it's
just like a bunch of hinging and
stepping.
stepping.
Hip flexion, hip flexion, hip flexion. And I'm kind of tight like when it comes to bringing my knee to my chest. So anyways, those movements just kind of blow me up.
Yeah, so anybody that has potentially tight hip flexion is going to kind of have that issue. I guess to bypass it, when he kind of goes through his own strategy and maybe looking at him even right now, his kind of technique to go down versus Mia's kind of hopping back and Mike's kind of stepping himself back on all of his reps.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit slower if you're trying to put up like an elite time.
Yeah.
But it's taking some of the stress off of whatever your limitation is in the workout.
My burpee speed right now feels really fast. I was doing that at the start to force myself to slow down just because I was like, I just want to keep going and go like really quick. And looking back, maybe I feel like I should have just gone out a little faster and just kind of dealt with it. I feel like I was going to get tired anyway. But so far I was pretty happy with like how I was pacing and breaking things up. Watching it's always funny like watching the best in the world do these workouts first. And we watched Scott Panchik and Rich Froning go, and everyone immediately thinks, okay, well I got to do the snatches, I'm broken. And like, my lesson after watching those guys do these workouts now for almost 10 years, right? Like this is the 10th Open, and Froning's like demoed it a bunch of times. The thing I've learned that's most important is that you never do what they do.
And it never
unless you're one of the best in the world.
And it never is as easy as they make it look.
Yeah.
One thing I did actually, we were talking about before this workout is a lot of people will be focused on can you break the snatches. And that's definitely one of the components that you can go through in the workout to create a strategic break. But if you're somebody that, like for me, I'm a heavier person, 95-pound hinging snatches, like they're gonna get hard because any workout gets hard for time. But I think I'd rather try to hang on unbroken there and think about the set of 10 burpees as putting an interset rest in there. So doing 5 burpees, stopping and taking a 5 or 10 second break, and then doing burpees, because that's the movement of the couplet that's gonna drive my heart rate up the most. So I think people can kind of think about strategizing that way as well.
Yeah, definitely. For me, I have a problem with power snatches like that, like a lightweight. I have a really hard time moving at a speed that doesn't spike my heart rate up.
Yeah.
So, like, I honestly think that the result on this would have been the same if I had done 4-2-2. I think it would have kept my heart rate down, and I could have just like continued to move the burpees a little faster. I think you can break the snatches. If you're trying, this is not for like the elite. If you're trying to get a pretty good score and be competitive, you know, against people in the gym and stuff, and like, I think
the time cap.
Yeah, like I think you can definitely break up the snatches a lot, and like the chunk of the workout is going to be done doing the burpees.
Yeah, I think as well, depending on what percentage. So 95-pound power snatch. Let's say your power snatch is like 250 to 270 right now, somewhere in that range. So that's a pretty low percentage of his power snatch here. But if your 1RM power snatch is something like 150, or the females, if yours is like 100 pounds and this is 65%, you might not have the option to have variance in how you do this. You might have to do fast singles, and you might have to think about how you're going to strategize to get your best time, and it might not necessarily be about the barbell cycling being like touch and go or maybe a break. It might be, how do I get these done quickly? So some things you can do, like Mike has dead plates there that aren't bouncing. You can see when Mia drops hers,
she's got dead plates too.
Yeah, I think they're just those little ones always kind of bounce.
Yeah, for the 15s, but like she's got the better set of 15s than the thicker, the bumper looking ones.
Yeah.
So I would definitely recommend that. And some people were like, well, you don't want to use the dead stop plates for the touch and go. And I'm like, it's light enough that it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I would highly recommend that for like anyone, because
especially if you get to singles, because you don't want to be chasing the bar around sideways a bunch of times.
Yeah, when you get like wad drunk with like 2 rounds left and you're like doing star jump, like power snatches, the bar starts like landing, one side lands before the other, and then it like starts shooting laterally across the gym, and you're in someone else's lane. You don't want to be that person.
Yeah. So
big break there.
Yeah.
That's
this is Mike. That's his hands on knees sleeping posture.
Again, I am always looking for optimal ways to rest my posture, whether it's laying on the ground flat or. It's crazy how much air you can get in your belly when your hands are on your knees, right? Like you're not using any of your midline to support yourself at that time. So,
where did your back start blowing up? I know you had mentioned that afterwards. So
I kind of felt it like up to round 5. I like felt it coming on. It started like limiting me, like mentally, like pain wise. When I say pain, I mean like discomfort, not like ow, I'm hurt. Like around 7. And I was like, the power snatches are just getting like really uncomfortable.
Yeah, and I know I've harped on this a lot, and probably in some of the throwdown workouts or just commentary videos we've done on our YouTube channel in the past, to have people practice their footwork. So step, get up to the bar, jump over, rotate, step back. I know a lot of people when they're doing that are very single-sided. This might be a workout, since you're hinging 80 times and then you're doing 100 burpees, which is 100 more hinges. This might be a workout that you want to spend some time doing some practice of doing footwork to both sides, or having a hop-up strategy. Like Panchik has kind of like a rotational hop strategy that he uses. So look around and try to find some burpee strategies that you could potentially play with if you're doing it one time on Saturday that you could do in your Friday's training, or if you're going to repeat it, maybe you do the workout with one strategy and then use Saturday as a technical day, and then do it again on Monday. And that's how we have our Design Plus program. We actually just put up all the full week's training, and that's how we have 2 paths. We have one path that's doing it one time and one path that's doing it twice, and that's how I have it laid out, to give people an option to kind of refine some of their positions for either their repeat or their single attempt, if they're just kind of doing it one time and kind of just trying to be involved in the competition.
Yeah, so going back to footwork, there was a few rounds in here where I tried to step up with my left to kind of balance it out, and I realized like, man, I don't do enough work on both legs because I had to think about it too much, and it like kind of threw me off, and I was like, fuck it, just do your regular right leg. You'll see a couple of them here where I step up my left leg, and I kind of do this like weird little like leg swing on some of them. I don't remember which round it is, but maybe we'll see it coming up here in a minute. But
yeah, so I don't remember exactly when this video started. Do you know what round we're in? I can't see the camera.
I want to say
I think you got 2 left.
Yeah, I want to say I just finished 6 or 7 actually. I might have 3 left. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean that just goes like something I'm going to do with my athletes is just make it like a huge priority like in the off season to when we do step burpees. We do a lot of burpee variation, but I don't do enough of making sure it's a priority to step equal with both legs because I think it's like huge, especially for someone that has like hinging mechanic issues like me.
Yeah.
Because I mean that 100% was the right side of my back that was just like on fire.
Yeah, I did do. I think it was actually before the design was launched, EMOMs, where I had people forced to do like hop up strategy, left side step up, right side step up.
Yeah.
Make sure you're stepping off the box on both when you're doing box jumps. And I think training is a good time to do that. Now that you're in the open, like kind of how Mike said, if you're thinking about a movement in the middle of doing it, it's going to be too slow. So you're not going to get a good time. So you kind of have to default into what's comfortable or what's practiced. But that's kind of like a long-term development concept people can kind of take up, or a refinement concept for a repeat. If you're a quick learner and you can develop a skill really quickly, you have 4 days or really 5 days, because this is coming out on Thursday. That's enough time to develop a skill enough to be able to use it, at least until the point that it starts to break down. You have to think about it, then you kind of default later. And here's Mike's thing in the workout.
That was resting posture. That was honestly, I was did that as well. See, I still rested, but my strategy was, well, just rest on the ground, then get up and jump over the bar and go right to the barbell to finish your second to last round of snatches. And
so it didn't successfully
work. It
didn't
work, but it felt really good. It was like hitting the snooze in the morning right before you wake up.
Yeah.
I was just had a thought. It's awesome to me to think like this is my 10th open. This is the 10th open. To think 10 years ago, if there were burpees in the workout and we were analyzing a video, I don't think we would have 10 minutes of things to talk about. But now we're talking about where to put your freaking feet on doing burpees. When back in the day, it was just like, lay down and get up.
This is what happens when an engineer's mind is working out fast.
It's what happens when everyone gets so damn good at it, too. You have to find ways to be better than someone else when it's a simple movement.
Yeah.
All right, like you have to take those things into consideration because everyone can do a burpee. Everyone can lay down and get up, but doing it, 100 times, like little things add up in terms of being efficient, and that's what separates you.
So I feel like you've kind of bullied your way into this commentary to take over all the commentary about you, and we didn't talk any about Mia. But I just wanted to take this time to let Mia know that we are appreciative that we have both a male and a female demo, and that Mike's a bully and doesn't care about his colleagues.
Why are you putting it all on me? You completely threw one of your employees to the side and left her out of Mia, I'm fired up to go against Mia in this. She's gonna push me a lot, and she pushed me a lot in this first one. I was actually really nervous the first few rounds because she was like going out really fast, and I was going faster than I wanted to. I went 10 seconds faster than I wanted to on my split pace.
I feel
so
like
my ego caught up.
Mia.
There I go talking about me again.
So this
is my last set, I think.
Yeah, last set of snatches, and she's in her 9th round of burpees. Mia is notoriously like awesome engine, can continually move, but with regards to burpees specifically, it's just a kind of a slow turnover movement. You can kind of see like step up, jump over. And she just finished, but we'll kind of see her last set. Here's Mike Sprint finishing his last round, coming to the conclusion. So you had some juice in the tank that you just weren't using. You're just saving for your rest.
Yeah, I mean, I think that works two ways, right? Like you're either going fast enough that you aren't able to do this through the whole workout. If you're going slow, you have to sprint at the end.
Yeah.
Just 10 burpees like that can go by really fast, especially in like training. We've done a lot of like sprints and like EMOMs where we like finish out really strong. So I knew that was possible.
So Mia did that last set. And now this is her final set of burpees. I know she said her grip was blowing up. You can see this. So this is Mia's sprint pace burpees. It's definitely not as fast as Mike's, but you can tell that instead of kind of hinging, getting her hands down, she's kind of jumping over and going right into the fall on the other side. So
You're staying low really well.
Yeah, so I think that is kind of something people can play with as they're going. If you're just not comfortable doing like the dizzy rotations around the bar or a faster cadence, then you're just gonna have to continually move in this workout. You're not gonna really have the option to rest.
Yep.
All right, so there it is. That's
we get a closing applause from, is that Luke P. from The Bachelor?
It is.
Bachelorette?
Bachelorette. So that is our 6th Open of 2019, 6th Open workout of 2019. But the first of the 2020 Open. Let's go back to Brandon and Kyle to give us some final tips. Good luck on the workout. We'll see you next week.
Is he super ticklish? Being that it's the Open, we've got to know the rules of the sport. First and foremost, the most important thing is to make sure you go over the movement standards. We're going to cover them in general for you. Brandon, you want to walk us through what the movement standards are?
Before I say that, make sure you go online and read the entire movement standards on the CrossFit website, just because we're just going to kind of do the broad overview.
Glaze over them. We're not responsible for your mistakes.
So the first thing is with the ground to overhead, you can snatch or clean and jerk. You just have to make sure that you are at full extension and the barbell's locked out overhead.
Yep. So the second piece is for the burpee, you can jump or step both directions, but the big caveat there is you must have a 2-foot takeoff, but you can have a 1-foot landing on the opposite side of the bar. At least that's how we're reading the rules. The other big thing is you've got to be perpendicular to the bar when when your chest and hips are touching the ground.
Yeah, and then the last thing on the burpee, because I think some people will miss this, if you get a no rep on the burpee, you must do the entire movement over. So it's not just like in the past where you go back over the bar and then you jump back. You have to do the burpee and the jump for that rep to count. So
that reminds me of a recent throwdown workout with the burpee broad jumps.
Yes, let's break this workout down. All right, let's talk about points of performance for this workout. The way that we like to look at this is like, what are the biggest separators in a workout? And so obviously there's 2 movements here. Then we want to look at which one is the most amount of time, and obviously the burpees are that. So the first thing we got to look at is how do we speed up the burpees or preserve the pace in the burpees so that we can minimize the time on the workout.
Yeah, just looking at the stats for Mike and Mia, it looks like the average time for Mike for the snatches was somewhere around like the 30 to 32 second mark, and then for the burpees it was closer to 41. So in total, there's quite a bit more time spent on the burpees. So I think, and I think the same thing is true for Mia, I think the best thing you can do is work on the efficiency component of the burpee.
Yeah, some of these are things that you can practice in your warm-up, or if you're going on Saturday, you should do it tomorrow if you're just kind of touching the workout. And the first thing would be working on your footwork. It should be the same throughout the entire workout if you can, and obviously if you just kind of get so messed up that you can't, then you got to kind of find whatever's going to maximize your score. But if you can keep your footwork the same, it's going to allow you to be a little bit more efficient.
I think you saw Mike use some flexibility in that workout where he started out jumping his feet back in the burpee, and by the middle of the workout when he was pretty messed up, he ended up stepping the burpees back. I think just to maintain a pretty good clip, but you can also see in his round times that when he switched to stepping back, he added like 7 to 8 seconds per round of burpees just by adding that step. So for those of you who are going to step the burpees back, that should just show you like it's that much slower every single round times 10 rounds.
Right, but one of the reasons he did that is to kind of calm his heart rate down a little bit and make sure that he had enough juice for the end of the workout. What you'll notice though is that his footwork was still clean when he was stepping it back. It didn't get sloppy, he wasn't having to take extra steps to the bar. He knew exactly what he was doing, so make sure you guys are practicing that.
I think the second piece there for burpee efficiency is make sure you stay as close to the bar as you possibly can. All right, so obviously you don't want to have your head touching the barbell, but just shy of that. That way you can get to the barbell as fast as possible. If you watch the demo between Mike and Mia, you can see that it's actually taking Mia a little bit longer to get to the barbell to jump over it with each rep. And I think the reality is if you look at the distance that their head is from the barbell, Mia's just consistently further away from the bar every single rep.
Yeah, one of the ways that you can do this in the warm-ups and then maybe even in the workout is put some tape on the ground that's next to the bar. Now that means you have to land your bar in the same spot after the snatches each time, but that'll give you hand placement so that your hands are always in the same place, which then obviously means your body will be in the same place in relation to the bar.
To that point, I know when most people get really messed up in the middle of a workout, they want to just dump the barbell from overhead, but the reality is if you're trying to turn in like a world-class score in this workout, you're going to have to follow that barbell down and put it on the ground. That way you can immediately drop into your first burpee, which is actually another important point for the burpees is the transition time into the first burpee actually could really add up for people that are gunning for top scores in the world. That if you drop your barbell and then you take even that half second or full second transition time, again, that's going to add up over the course of the workout. And at the top echelons of the sport, 10 seconds is going to end up mattering.
Yeah, so as soon as you finish your snatches, the transition should be get to the ground as quickly as possible. It's going to be harder to get back to the barbell for some people, but everyone can fall down into that burpee. And then the last thing is breathe on your burpees. I know that may seem common sense, but you see a ton of people that, especially in round 5 and 6, that will end up holding their breath because they're so messed up in the workout, which then will make them more messed up going into the snatches.
I think one of the hardest places to breathe in a burpee is when you're laying flat on your stomach on the ground. So try and like pop up quick off the ground, get your inhale then, get your inhale when you're actually going over top of the barbell, but try not to spend time laying flat on the ground because all of your organs are being compressed by gravity at that point, making it as hard as possible to breathe in that position. Yeah. The other thing I think that we do need to touch on here is just when you do go over the barbell, sweep your feet back as fast as you possibly can. I don't know if that's like splaying your feet back, kicking your feet back, but whatever happens, once you touch down on the other side of the barbell, you don't want to support your body weight at that point. You want to get your feet back as quickly as possible. That way you're popping down and hitting the ground for that burpee.
Yeah. For the shoulder to, or the ground to overhead, I should say, the snatch is probably the fastest way. Some people will be able to do a clean and jerk quickly and probably more efficiently, but I think that the majority of the people should be snatching this workout. And if you're an elite level athlete that's trying to put in a good score, you're probably going to have to snatch the entire time.
I'm sure someone's going to, is the outlier out there and they're gonna basically say like, oh, look at this person who did clean and jerks. They had a amazing time. But I think the fastest times in the world will come from doing like a no hip contact muscle snatch pretty much for the entire duration of the workout, especially on the women's side. So some things, I think just some points of performance for you. Number one, make sure that you play with both clean and jerk and snatch in warm-up, because even if you're an uber elite who's potentially going to be turning in one of the fastest times in the world, you may get to a point in the middle of this workout where you just overshot your pacing a little bit and you might need to switch to a clean and jerk, even if it's just like, a clean and jerk where you're not tapping the shoulder. You may need to switch to that just to preserve your speed, because the reality is, who cares what movement you're using if it's a ground to overhead? Whatever's going to allow you to maintain the fastest speed throughout the entire workout is what you should do. Leave the ego aside.
For sure. And then again, if you want a top score, you're most likely going to have to go unbroken on this, or they're going to have to be really short breaks. For everyone else, pick a rep scheme that you know that you can keep linear rest breaks throughout. So like Kyle's, Mia's coach, they try to stick to 5 seconds between the 4 and 4 each round because she knew that she would blow up with her grip or her low back. She stuck to that pretty well, maybe a couple rounds that were off.
I think her worst was probably 7 seconds.
Yeah. So for you, whatever that may be, stick to that and try to keep your rest breaks linear throughout.
I think if you watched Mike and Mia, they both did a fantastic job. They split them 4-4 from the beginning. Mike may have had one set where he was 4-2-2. I'm not entirely sure. But outside of that, they both stuck to the 4-4 strategy pretty much throughout the entire workout. I do know, just as a note, performance note, Mike did say his lower back was just completely smoked. So keep that in mind when you're deciding how you're going to break your snatches. Maybe it's that for the first 5 rounds, you're going to go 4-4, and after that, you're going to just play it by feel. But I think more important is knowing your rest management, making sure that you have a time picked out and you're going to stick to that, and whatever set size that rest time allows is what you're going to stick with. If it allows for 4-4, stick with it. If it allows for 2-2 with 5-second rest between them, stick with it, get the work done.
Yeah, and the best scores for everyone will end up being those with the least amount of fall off throughout the workout. For the best, you're going to have to go hot and stay hot the entire time. For the rest of us, you're going to want to pick a pace, but make sure that it's still aggressive, that basically by the end you are redline, but that you're not dropping off by a significant amount.
Move as fast as you possibly can while minimizing your drop off.
For sure.
It's easy to say. It's going to be much harder to do when you're out on the floor. The other things, we talked a little bit about rest management. We touched on transitions for snatch going into the burpee. What about burpee going back into the snatch? Because that is one place that actually I saw that Mia, I think, actually was a little bit better than Mike in the early rounds, just getting back onto the barbell a little bit faster. Is there any tips you've got for
Yeah,
that?
I mean, high-level athletes are going to have to get back to the bar right away, and that may be something in later rounds that you plan on going unbroken, but because you're going through your transition so quickly that you do end up doing a 4-4 or a 5-3, but you're going to have to be fast back to the bar and then fast to the ground. For the rest of us, again, I think it's thinking about linear rest breaks. So have a plan in place even in the beginning of your round 1, round 2, round 3, whatever it may be, where you know, like, hey, going to the burpees, it's a 0-second transition. I'm going right down. Going back to the snatches, I'm going to rest 2 or 3 seconds every time to calm myself back
or
down.
even like a 2-breath rest, because
Sure.
I know from personal experience that getting some air out, getting some CO2 out after coming off the burpees is going to be important going into that first set of snatches. I know there's lots of other people who are going to be able to just pick the bar up. I'm not one of them, but if you're someone who needs that break, that is probably the only of the 2 transitions, the only one where you should take transition time. I know in the demo you just watched, they took a little longer transitions getting into the burpees. I wouldn't recommend taking it there, but of course I may not do that in practice when I do the workout myself.
Yeah. Keep in mind, we're gonna have a warm-up in the description, so look at that, and then obviously we hope all of you crush this workout. We'll be doing it tomorrow, so stick around and we'll have some more stuff for you guys.
Actually point up here. Yeah.
That
so
way.
Right there's a link you can click, and you can listen to Brandon and Max talk about stuff.
Stuff!
About open things.
Ta-da! Good luck, guys.
It's a wrap, you know what I'm saying? Your boy Project Pata in this thing, man. Hey, look, man, thank y'all for watching Training Think Tank's YouTube channel. Y'all hit that motherfucking subscribe button, you know what I'm saying? So y'all go ahead, man. Thank y'all for watching the channel, you know what I'm saying? Hit that motherfucking subscribe button. Let it be known, what it be known, what it be known, you know what I'm saying? Pata.